So when you think of a Komodo dragon, what comes to mind? Probably this giant, prehistoric-looking lizard stuck on a remote island, right? But what if I told you that most of what we think we know is kind of wrong? Its real story is way more surprising, full of ancient migrations and a very, very modern twist. So let's get into it and uncover the unexpected biography of the world's largest lizard.
All right, first things first, let's just start with the reputation we all know. The Komodo is, without a doubt, a seriously formidable predator. It has absolutely earned its reputation as this powerful hunter, basically a modern-day dragon roaming its own little island kingdom.
Yeah, this is the classic image, right? The massive reptile, found only in Indonesia, the undisputed king of its domain. This is the Komodo we've all seen in nature documentaries. And the scale, it's just immense. I mean, we're talking up to 3 meters long. That's almost 10 feet. It is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the lizard world, no question. This size lets it totally dominate its ecosystem, taking down prey as big as deer, even water buffalo.
Okay, but here's where the story takes a really cool turn. We think of them as being famously Indonesian, but is that where their story actually began? Well, the real answer is pretty surprising.
Let's just ask it directly, because for a long time, even the experts got this one totally wrong. So where are the ancient roots of this iconic animal?
This just completely rewrites the book on the Komodo. You see, the old theory was this classic case of island gigantism. You know, the idea that these little lizards got to Indonesia and boom, in isolation, they just grew into giants. But now, fossil evidence points somewhere totally different. Australia.
I mean, what a journey, right? As you can see, the ancestors of the Komodo evolved in Australia millions of years ago, and they were already huge. Then, about 900,000 years ago, when sea levels were way lower, they started moving west, hopping from island to island into what we now call Indonesia. Eventually, they died out back in Australia, leaving their descendants to thrive in this new island home.
So all this history of them being these epic travelers, well, it brings up a really interesting puzzle. If their ancestors were such amazing migrants, why are modern Komodos just stuck in such a tiny corner of the world?
And you'd think they would keep moving, right? These animals are built for it. They can hit 20 kilometers an hour in a sprint, they're powerful swimmers, and they can cover up to 7 miles in a single day just hunting for food. They clearly have all the tools they need to be explorers.
And yet, they don't. A decade-long study led by an ecologist named Tim Jessup found something incredible. Komodos are extreme homebodies. For all that power, they almost never leave the valley or the island where they were born. They have this incredible ability to roam, but for whatever reason, they just don't. Okay, so where exactly is this little kingdom of theirs today? As it turns out, their entire wild population lives in just one small cluster of islands. Right now, their entire native range is limited to these 5 islands, all inside Indonesia's Nusa Tenggara Timur province. This small archipelago is the last place on the entire planet where you can find these dragons in the wild. And look, their hold on this territory is super fragile. They've already disappeared from at least one island they used to live on, Pulau Padar. And why? It's simple, really. They ran out of food. The deer disappeared, and so did the dragons. It's a really stark warning about how delicate their whole ecosystem is.
And that fragility? Well, it leads us right into the huge challenges these animals are facing today. Their isolated kingdom is pretty much under siege from the modern world.
For an animal that has literally nowhere else to go, the threats are coming from every direction. Poaching of their main food source, deer, is a huge problem. Human activity and deforestation are shrinking their home. But you can see it right there. The single biggest danger, the one looming over everything, is climate change.
The scale of this problem, it's just staggering. Scientists are predicting that rising sea levels could shrink the Komodo's already tiny habitat by 30% in less than 50 years. It's this incredibly dangerous situation that has led the IUCN, the big authority on this stuff, to officially classify them as an endangered species.
But just when things look their most grim, our story takes one last, absolutely wild turn. It turns out their Indonesian archipelago is no longer the only place in the world you can find a Komodo dragon.
So you hear this question, and you think, well, of course they are, right? After everything we've just said about them being such homebodies, it seems impossible. But is it?
Believe it or not, there's a thriving global population of around 500 Komodo dragons living far away from their native islands. That's wild, right? I mean, that's nearly a fifth of their entire global population.
It all started way back in the 1920s when zoos started getting them.
And from there, this whole global diaspora was born. Today, you can find them being bred and studied in conservation centers and zoos all over the world, from the US and Europe to Japan and South Africa. They've become global ambassadors for their species.
So that leaves us with this really big, thought-provoking question, doesn't it? The Komodo dragon, an animal famous for refusing to leave its home, now has homes all over the world. As their native islands face these incredible threats, could this global network, these captive populations, actually be the ultimate safety net that saves this incredible ancient dragon?